is there really risk? There's no risk to creating an LLC, to getting an EIN, to opening a bank account. The risk is really in the inaction, in not doing that, in sitting there thinking about it for the next 20, 30, 50 years, and then you get down the road and you go, if only I would have just started.
Welcome to Courageous Stewards, the podcast where legacy meets leadership.
We believe stewardship isn't just about managing resources. It's about multiplying impact, honoring purpose, and building with eternity in mind. Each week, we dive into business-focused discussions on real estate investing on a foundation of faith and family.
We have a desire to inspire listeners with a heart to reclaim their time, talents, and treasures for something greater. Whether you're growing your portfolio, leading a business, or a family, we need to become the best version of ourselves.
This is your space to gain wisdom, walk in courage, and steward what matters most.
Let's build what lasts. Let's lead with love.
Let's become Courageous Stewards.
All right, welcome back. We're here on episode 7, and we're going to be diving into what we think would be the Stewardship Edge and what that looks like. Jake and I's heart for that Stewardship Edge and having that is really taking action while you're being misunderstood in the process. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I agree. The willingness to be misunderstood is really your superpower. And the longer that you can continue to pursue your goals and your vision while being misunderstood, the more successful you'll end up being.
I just heard something the other day, and it was about the entrepreneur cycle, which is starting something where I don't know all the steps, but you're optimistically uninformed, and you start, and then you start getting informed in the process. Then you become pessimistically informed. And then because it's not working, you hear somebody else talking about another goal or another project, and you're like, well, I'll just do that instead. And so you keep repeating that loop. But I think what you were saying right there was consistency in the process is what gets you through. So you've got to make it through the pessimistic, informative stage to keep going and to grow it past that point of inflection, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Really, in this business, if you hesitate, someone else is going to capitalize on your indecision. So it's really important that you continue to move. You're looking constantly for new opportunities. You're taking advantage of the opportunities that you already have and taking care of stewarding the things well that are already in your possession.
The 3 most expensive words in our vocabulary is inaction, indecisiveness, and waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put procrastination in there, but the cost of those words alone is crazy. It's wild. If you apply those to certain things, you can really see the reflection of the cost of those words. So it's important to take action at some point, even if you have a little bit of hesitation. It may be an unpopular opinion, but I'd rather start doing it and do it wrong, go back and fix it, and then keep going. Because at least you're moving, you know?
Yeah.
If you're sitting and waiting, nothing can happen.
Yeah, I agree. Inaction is the greatest risk. But it's the greatest risk not only for investors, which is the perspective that we're taking right now, it's also the biggest risk for you as a parent and as a leader. If you are an inactive parent, Lord be with you, your kids are going to struggle. You need to be involved in their lives. And the inaction in correcting their misbehavior is detrimental to them, to their future, to you as a parent. You need to be an active parent.
100%. Intentional. Disciplines in Scripture. I mean, we are called to discipline, just mentor and be active, because you have 2 options with your kids. You either got to be the one that's going to mentor them, give them the guidance, walk with them, have the hard conversations, have the hard truths with them, and help give them direction in those moments, or you can let their friends on social media educate them, and that is not something I want.
They're going to be influenced by something.
They absolutely are.
You better make sure that it's you.
Yep.
And done the way that you would like for them to be influenced. Have those hard conversations, like to your point. If you don't have them, they're going to hear it in a different way that maybe you're not comfortable with, whether it's through social media or from friends at school or some other influence, the group that they're around. They're going to be influenced somehow. It's true for leaders as well. If you're an inactive, passive leader, your team is going to struggle. There's no question. They need somebody to lead who is willing to have those hard conversations, make the hard decisions, and steward what the Lord has given you and be the leader to your team.
Yep, absolutely. A leader has to know, like, we are always building, we're always learning continuously. If you are passive, you've stopped. You become stagnant, and your impact starts to get marginalized and starts to reduce. It starts to trend down. So you need to always be learning and multiplying and pressing in and being intentional about those things. We need to invest in ourselves,
Yeah, I agree. That could lead into a really good question. What is the difference between proactive and reactive leadership?
That's a great question. I like this a lot because it was something you and I had talked about one time before even. The difference between proactive and reactive is you are the one that is happening to life, or you are the one that life's happening to. It's your approach. If you're proactive, you're taking time to have vision on what's coming up, what's going to happen, and you're ready for it. You almost anticipate it. The ones that aren't having that vision and looking forward from a proactive standpoint, whether it's in business leadership, even family, you got to see it coming because it's going to happen. And if you're proactive, that means you've looked into it, you expect it, and you're prepared for it. When that thing comes, you go through it with a warrior mentality because you're prepared to go through the storm because you already knew the storm was coming. I think you press into something overly optimistic, you're passive, you have high expectations that things are going to go smoothly and it's going to work out. All of a sudden that storm comes and you crumble, and that's because you are lacking proactivity. You and I are doing that right now, and we've been doing that even with this storage deal coming up. We're looking to close on very soon. We already have looked into what are we going to do for the ground development? What are we going to do to the buildings? How do we want to do the fencing? We're looking at rolling over. We're researching platforms that make sense to use on a business like this. That's being proactive. And then we know we're going to have issues and turns and missed payments and things like that. We're reading, we're studying, and we're familiar with some of that. And so we devise a plan before those storms come. When they come, it's like, okay, here's what the process says. We were proactive. We came up with a system, and now we just get to address it with our system.
It's almost an active or passive approach.
Yep.
Are you going to take an active approach or a passive approach? I would like to approach it from the angle of parenting. And I think the thing that I have to say about this particular subject is probably not one that's super popular in today's society, but my opinion is get your kids off of their devices and back into activities. Give them something to put their hand to, whether that's building something, whether it's simple as a puzzle or a card game with a parent. Be active in your kids' lives. It's hard sometimes as parents. A lot of us have two-parent homes that both have to be working. Some of us have one-parent homes that the parent has to work 2 jobs or 3 jobs and is never home and has to give their child something to do. And the simplest thing to do is to put an iPad in front of them or a computer or a cell phone or whatever the case is. But I would encourage parents to take a more active approach in your kids' development and in their lives. Get them off of their screens, get them back outside in nature, give them things to put their hand to, and you'll be happy that you did.
I talk a lot about culture in the workplace. You and I have had several conversations, and I think that reflects in the household as well. What's difficult is, and I struggle with this myself even, is I will find myself asking my boys, hey guys, let's get off our devices for a little bit. And then what do? I pull my phone out of my pocket. All of a sudden, I'm checking it again.
Right.
Subconscious, I'm just not prepared. I'm giving them guidance and mentorship, but then I'm doing the thing I just asked them to try to not do. So I'm not setting the example. So I think culture is equally important in the household as you set those expectations and you reflect that example in front of your children so that not only when you tell them to do it, but they're actually seeing you take steps to do those same things.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to jump on this proactive thing again. One thing, looking back, it's easy to come up with excuses not to press into something that you're a little uncomfortable about because you don't know what you don't know. There's no excuses anymore. There's no excuses. If you are looking to start something or build something and you're like, well, I'm not really sure what that looks like, or I'm not sure what all the issues might be, or where my struggles might come, look it up. Like, we have the internet. You can look up anything. The storage is just another good example. I went on YouTube and I looked up what are the unknown problems with managing self-storage. There's a YouTube video on that.
I believe it.
And he just sat there and talked through the 7 things that you may not be expecting pressing into a self-storage business. There's no excuses anymore. You cannot know, and you probably don't know because you haven't gone out and looked, but it's all out there. Somebody's already done it. They're doing it well, and they are going to give you the advice for free on what to watch for if you decide to press into that thing. There's just not an excuse not to go get the information you say you don't have.
Yeah, I
So-
agree. A lot of our audience is probably going to be the person who maybe only has a couple of units under their belt, or maybe no units of any kind under their belt, and they're trying to get started with their first property. It's even more true. The information is out there. You can get it, whether it's through books, YouTube, videos, podcasts. There's a lot of different avenues that you can take to get the information. What you really need to gain is the commitment and the intestinal fortitude to go after it. Mm-hmm. It really isn't about the information. It's more about the drive to do it.
Yeah, I think so. You got to be somewhat informed, but don't over-inform and be willing to take that step. I totally agree. I want to jump back to parenting real quick. This is really important, and it's a cool visual. But if you could see a chart with an X on it, one being the age of your child starting at the lower left corner as the child gets older. And then you go to the top left corner and you draw a line down to the other side. That's your ability to control the child. There's an inflection point on that graph and it crosses in the middle. So when you are raising your kid, when they're a baby, control's easy because I can pick the baby up and I can move the baby over here. Now you're where I put you. When they get older, it's crazy how early you lose actual control over their decision making. Now, how do you have that? What's really important is, like you were saying, the intentionality, because relationship is how you control the other side of that inflection point. So as they're young, you can control them because you have control over them. When they get older, relationship, they're drawn to you because you're close to them, because they love you, because they know you, and you poured into them and you made time for them, and they're drawn to that. I don't know how my 16-year-old still likes to hang out and make time for dad, and I love that. It means the world, and I think that's relationship. You know, my son Dylan, he's 12. He still likes dad, still thinks dad's cool. He's growing up too, starting to cross into those teenage years. But it's control first while they're young, and it's relationship on the second part. And if you're not intentional early on in establishing the relationship, you'll lose the entire ability to control later on when they're older. So I just wanted to take a minute to go back to that proactive conversation on parenting and have that visual in our minds, because relationship is how you help raise the kids on the older side versus the early on where you have physical control over the child because they're so young.
It's so funny that you say that, because I would say probably the single biggest reason why I decided to leave my job, my W-2, when I did, was because I recognized that I had such a small amount of time left with my kids to be able to impact and influence them in a positive way. And I look at the time that I spent at my W-2, this particular W-2 that I had, it occupied so much time. I was on call regularly. I worked nights, then I worked days. I had a portfolio of real estate on the side. So I was working somewhere in the ballpark of 100 to 120 hours a week.
Yeah, all day.
How much time can you really impact your children when you're never there? And so I recognized that I was going to spend 90% of the time that I had with my kids over the next 3 to 6 years. And after that, you spend 10% of your time with your kids from that point forward.
Yeah.
Now is your opportunity.
So true.
Not later. You can make money later if you have to. Now is when you have an opportunity to really impact your family. And if you're gone all the time, it may be a good example to set to show your kids good work ethic, that you're going out to kill it and to drag it home to provide for them. That's great. But the other side of that is the influence and the impact that you're not able to have because you're not around. So be present, be active, be involved. It's vital while your kids are younger.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I want to circle back to entrepreneurship and what that looks like for a first-generation entrepreneur, which we both are. There are kind of these two chasms of wealth. You have those primarily who create wealth. They're first generation wealthy because of what they've done to produce. I say wealth from the perspective of ownership in a business or company or real estate or whatever, but wealth can be more than just financial. It can be wealthy in relationships with your kids. But we need action steps. What do we do to become first generation wealthy? On the other side of that, you have wealthy individuals who were born into it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it gets squandered because of that. They don't know what they don't know. They just grew up that way. And so I think that it would be great if we gave some action steps that can give our listeners some tactical, applicable steps to take to put themselves in a better position to be wealthy. The first one that I would suggest is just find the thing that you want to do. In other words, commit to a meaningful direction. Whatever that is, everybody sees things a little bit different. Even in our own businesses, my business perspective is a little bit different than yours. I may want to go a little bit different direction than what you do, and that's okay. But you need to understand the direction that you're heading. You can't be everywhere. That's something that I've noticed a lot recently on social media, especially, is that every other time you swipe to a new video, it's somebody telling you what you should do to make $10,000 a month. Or $20,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I can I can sit and watch videos if I have some free time and figure out there's 25 different things that 25 different people are telling me I need to do in order to make a certain amount of money. And really, if you're going in all those directions, you're not going to be hyper successful in any one of them. Yeah. You spread yourself too thin.
I think a little bit of focus is good. And having that meaningful direction, part of that is discovering what your gifts are and then making sure you have a why bigger than you in finding that direction. That's a great one to have.
Right. Once you've determined what your meaningful direction is, write down your vision, put it on paper, tweak it, adjust it, but make it yours. Make your vision clear to you. And I would even recommend hanging it somewhere that you can see it every single day.
Great point.
Don't put it in a book, close it, and put it on the shelf. Make it visible. So every time you walk past it, you go, now I know what I need to do. I need to get back on track. I've deviated a little bit. Let's bring it back home.
Yeah, it sounds menial to have something hung on a fridge. It sounds a little silly, but man, it's something about staring yourself in the face when that thing's hung on the fridge and you wrote it.
Yeah.
It's like accountability on paper, and it's crazy. I love having people around that hold me accountable to what I say I'm going to do, but I totally agree is just have it up there. One thing I did when I lost 50 pounds years ago was I hung a picture of me on my fridge without my shirt on, and it was not pretty.
That'll motivate you.
Yeah, I would have to look at that every day, and I made it to the gym. I got on my bike. I watched my diet. Because there I was staring myself in the face. And so I love that tip, having it wrote down and making sure you can see it. Yeah, don't put it away. Don't put it on a desk where you're not going to be around. That's a great point.
Right. I would even say it doesn't have to be super complicated. Just a few words. We have a desire to inspire. We hope that we can inspire somebody to do better, to be better, to take their vision and run with it and not just keep it in their mind, but put action to it.
Yep.
Which kind of leads me to the next step. Sit down and write out your goals from 5 years out and then work your way back. And what I mean by that is sit and think about where you want to see yourself in 5 years. Write that goal down. In order to get to that goal, I need to figure out where I need to be at year 4. And then I need to figure out year 3 and year 2 and year 1. And if you write down each one of those in order to get to year 5, you'll accomplish them so much faster than you thought you would.
Yeah.
You may get to year 2 or 3 and you've accomplished everything that was on your list going up to year 5 just because it's written down and you look at it and you have goals that you've set and you're working to achieve those goals.
Yeah. Give yourself permission to do that part wrong. It's okay that you didn't nail it. And I totally agree with what Jake said about you'll probably reach it and exceed it sooner. My story is similar to that. I remember my first plan was 5 years, 5 units, and then I was going to start thinking about leaving my job. And it was 11 months and 10 doors, and then I left my job. So it happened way faster than I expected it. So having that goal setting, I did it wrong. But man, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it wrong.
Yeah. And now you're a little over 2 years in.
Just under 2 years.
Just under 2 years in. And in about 2 weeks, you will have a total of roughly 160 doors.
That's wild.
Isn't that unbelievable? You set a 5-year goal and you work your way back and you far exceeded that just because you knew the direction that you were going and you were willing to work towards it.
Mine will be 120. 121
Okay.
doors
Okay.
with the storage facility and my 18 units.
Yeah.
It's still, I mean, like, holy moly.
Yeah, it's
like, what
mind-blowing.
happened?
It's mind-blowing.
My wife and I were just talking about it last night. I had no idea it was going to go like it did, with a 5-year plan that had me waiting 5 years, going slow, doing a few things here, and then it turned into this. And you can't, I mean, it's by the grace of God, because only He could create this much in such a short period of time, and thank you for the gifts to God that I have to drive into this, and people and partners that I'm around like you, Jake, and just help be a part of this journey, man. Yeah, write it down.
Yeah, absolutely. The next thing after you've written down your vision for the next 5 years and backed your way into how to get there, just decide what the most important next step is. You don't have to do step 345 before you do step 2.
Yep.
Just do number 2. Number 1 really is putting it down on paper. This is what I have to achieve. Then number 2, then number 3, then number 4. Don't worry about what 3, 4, 500 are before you've done the ones that are right in front of you. And then I would say the last thing that you should really do is be a person that follows through on that next step. Don't just think about it, but do it. Don't just talk about it to your friends and your family and those people that'll listen, and maybe some people that won't listen and give you grief about it. Be somebody who does it. They will give you grief based on the fact that you did it, rather than the fact that you're just talking about doing it. Be a person of action.
Absolutely. I love those last 2 points. Deciding what the most important next step is and taking the next step. We've talked about it. The thought of growing this and having it all is daunting. It's a big task, but not step 1. Step 1 was not a big task.
Yeah, it's easy.
Starting an LLC, I did that online in 4 minutes. That was step 1. Going to the bank, hey, I need to open an account with this EIN number because that's my LLC. That took 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden it goes, and then you're talking to the bank about the loan. You found a property, and then that's in there. It's just a series of small steps. I love that, and I really want that to be a takeaway in this, is just a series of small steps and being a person that follows through. It's okay to talk about your goals for a minute. I think it's good. It creates a little accountability, but don't talk too long.
Don't just talk about it.
Don't talk
Be
too
about
long.
them.
Talk about it, then get quiet and start doing those steps. They're going to talk about you anyways. They're going to talk about you doing it. They're going to make fun of you while you're doing it, while you're talking about it. And then if you actually do it, they're still going to talk about you. You might as well do it and win. They're going to get quiet when it's working. They talk about you and they write it in pencil so that when you start growing it, they can erase it and change the narrative. I mean, I knew you could do it. And it's funny how that is. Like, write it in pen, because I remember what you said. I remember how that went. So follow through, take the action steps, talk for a minute, and then get quiet and get active.
Yeah, absolutely. I would suggest also that you just break this down into simple 5-minute tasks. To kind of bring it all home, I would say most everything is just a series of 5-minute tasks. And if you can wrap your mind around that, it simplifies everything. To your point earlier, the first 3 things that you really are going to want to do is open an LLC. You can do that online. It's super simple.
Yeah, it's $99
online.
At least in Ohio.
Yeah, is $99. From there, you need an EIN. That's free. Once you have those 2 steps, you take those to the bank, you open a business bank account.
Yep.
You give them those 2, you have a business bank account. You're set up and ready to start buying real estate within that LLC.
Yep.
It really is that simple.
It's
But
crazy hearing it
people
like that.
don't do it.
Yeah.
We don't do it out of fear. And so I would recommend, if you don't know where to start there.
Yep.
Those 3 steps will get the ball rolling. They'll make you feel like you have a company, you have a direction, you're ready to go.
Yeah, action drives action. It was funny how the confidence starts to grow as you do the steps that are needed. I remember creating the LLC. I was so excited. All I had was this little stupid certificate printed off from the computer, and it does it like that. Like, it registers you, it approves you. It's like you are an LLC now. It's
You're
like
legit.
Yeah. So I printed it off, I hang it on my wall. I'm like, man, I felt so good. I was so filled, and I still had nothing.
Yeah.
But those small incremental steps really start. I mean, remember drawing my logo on that folder? Like, that for me was big. Other people were like unimpressed and unsurprised, but so it is that confidence starts to grow. Action creates confidence, and then that will drive you to the next step.
Yeah.
it creates accountability and a push because it's, oh, now I've got the LLC. Well, now I've got the checking. I better start talking to a lender because I'm going to have to find a property. It will just almost naturally, you'll be like, because those are done, I can't stop the ball now. And then the ball grows and it grows and it grows. And you look back and you're like, I don't even know how we got here. Holy moly. Like, I remember it was step one, so this is great stuff, Jake.
Action creates action. Yeah, to Sean's point, if you just start doing things, you'll recognize if what you're doing is not necessarily the right thing. You can press pause, you can turn 90, and you can start heading in another direction a little bit if you need to.
Yep.
But is there really risk? There's no risk to creating an LLC, to getting an EIN, to opening a bank account. The risk is really in the inaction, in not doing that, in sitting there thinking about it for the next 20, 30, 50 years. And then you get down the road and you go, if only I would have just started. I just needed to start. If I would have started back then, now I wouldn't be thinking about what I didn't do. Rather, I would be thinking about what I need to do to steward what the Lord has given me because I took action and was willing to step out.
Yeah.
It's a whole different perspective when you get down the road and think, I'm not regretting what I didn't do. Now I'm thinking about how do I handle what the Lord has entrusted me with.
We think the cost of starting is high when really the cost of not is higher. I don't want to live with regret. Your dreams are with you and they are already there. God's given you the promise of the dreams you have in your heart already. That's why you get energized when you think about those things. So when you die and you pass away, the dreams that were given to you, the goals that were given to you die with you. They don't get to manifest with somebody else. They're just gone because only you had in you to create that thing and achieve those goals.
Yeah.
So the risk really isn't waiting or not starting and putting it off. I mean, I'm going to just jump back real quick here when we're talking about the risk of waiting. A simple example when it comes to investing is compound interest. If you started at 20 years old and you invested for 45 years at 9% and you had $400 a month going into it regularly, that's going to be $2.5 million. So you started at 20 years old. But if you waited till you were 25, that's just 5 years, 5 little years of waiting. If you had the same $400 a month at 25 years old, you would invest for 40 years, you'd have $1.6 million. 5 years cost you $900,000. People tell me I can't afford to invest. You can't afford not to invest is really what it is. You have to be in the market. It's the compound interest curve. Because what happens is if you can visualize that curve, it's flat at the beginning for a long time, and then it goes exponential. When you wait, what you're doing is you're moving the flat part out to the right on the graph, and you're delaying it. Well, those years are your life. And so when you're gone, the exponential growth might be there, but you're already gone. The exponential growth has to happen as early as possible, so don't wait. Get active, take the chance, and pay the price. Get in there. Give something up to grow something big.
Yeah, the same is true in business, in family. Your kids, you have X amount of years with them before they're going to be out on their own. And to your point, if you don't start until they're 16 years old, you don't have the impact that you would have had if you would have been more active when they were 4 years old.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's good, Jake.
It's true when you really think about it. The same is true as a leader. If you're not taking an active role in being a good leader in your organization now, your business is going to be stagnant until you change your approach and begin to take an active role in bringing a team together that can produce something with the vision that you originally created. You need to take the action now.
What I did like was you tied that visual to leadership, parenting, investing, business. Like you tied that visual into everything. And I think it's just another message to like, we got to invest in us and our kids and whatever it is we're doing, we got to pour into it. We got to be better. We got to learn more. We got to do more. We got to do it early because the reward and the compounding value that's created is going to happen later. But we got to put that work in when the line's flat. And that's the weird part because there's not a lot of reward. You don't always feel like you're making progress or you're gaining traction early on because it's kind of flat. Like, okay, I gave some good guidance to my kid, but he kind of rolled his eyes and was a little dismissive. It's like, okay, stay with it. Stay in it. Keep doing it because it's going to work. That compounding value is going to happen later on when they're older. You know, investing is a good example. Leadership. It's almost like the exponential growth is a reflection of your potential in any situation you're in. So I love what you said a minute ago because I just took that visual and applied it to all three of those things. And it's like, wow, that's a really cool visual.
It's really applicable in any situation that we're talking about. the things that we talk about on this podcast, you can apply that in any one of those areas and really begin to gain some perspective on how your impact is delayed if you don't get started now.
Yep. Well said.
So from your perspective, what is the most important single step in becoming an effective steward?
We have to recognize what it is that we have and pay attention to it. Do you have some extra time? Do you have some extra resources? Are you good at something? What are your gifts? You have to recognize what it is you have, resource-wise, and I mean everything. I'm not just talking money. It doesn't matter if you have $1,000 in the bank or $20 in the bank. Do you have time to go pour into somebody? Do you have a gift for cooking, baking, being with kids? If you can look at what the gifts are God gave you, then I would say discover those gifts and then claim them. Claim them out loud, claim them mentally, attach yourself to them, own them. Because part of being a steward is owning what you have, and ownership is making sure that you recognize you're entrusted with it so that you steward it well because you have it. Recognize what your strengths are, claim them and own them in a sense that God says to own it because it's still His, it comes from Him and it flows through us. And we have it. It has power when we own it and we claim it and we recognize and how to steward it because we know what those gifts are.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really interesting perspective. If I were to put a phrase to that question, what's the most important step in becoming an effective steward? It's really the theme of our podcast in a lot of ways, and that is action. Be willing to commit to take action. In the simplest form, that next 5-minute step. That's what is expected of us as leaders. It's what God expects from us as parents. Mm-hmm. We just need to be willing to take action. The next thing is the most important thing. Work on that and then move on.
All right, so as we're wrapping up here today, we're just going to go back and revisit those 5 tips you gave earlier, Jake, are just awesome action steps and well said. So number 1, just commit to a meaningful direction. Make sure you have a why behind that and write your vision down and make sure it's visible on the daily. Make sure you can see it. Write down your goals starting 5 years out and then work backwards from that big 5-year goal. Decide what the most important next step is and make sure you take it. And then the last one is being a person that follows through on that next step. And that doesn't just mean that next one. It means that one, the one after, and so on. You just have to be the person that follows through. So those are the 5 things we want you to take away as listeners today. And I think Jake has a tip for us today that maybe some people don't know, and I think it's going to tie directly kind of to what we do.
In the previous episode, we started with an I Bet You Didn't Know series. And Sean gave a great tip on timed text messages, which I think is incredible, and I use it now all the time. I didn't know that before we met. That's something he taught me. The I Bet You Didn't Know tip that I would like to encourage people to put into practice who are listening to this podcast is basically circling back to what we talked about with the first few steps in business, really the first 3 that people may not even know, like, how do I get started? This is how you get started. You get online, you create an LLC. You can do that through a government website. You don't have to pay an attorney to create an LLC for you. You can do it yourself, $99 online. From there, you go on and get your EIN, also government website, and it's free. Simple task. You can complete that one. Once you have those 2, you'll have a paper for each one. You take those both to the bank, you open up a business bank account, and you're ready to rock and roll. From there, the sky's the limit. You go any direction you want to go in business, but they all start with those first 3 steps.
That's good stuff. This was another great episode, the Stewardship Edge and taking action and being willing to be misunderstood. I love talking about being proactive. So we hope that you guys had some value add from this episode today, and we just hope you stay tuned. Like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite podcast or YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys tuning in today. We look forward to the next episode.
Thanks for joining us today on Courageous Stewards, where legacy meets leadership and faith fuels the journey.
If this episode stirred something in you, share it with someone who's ready to step boldly into their calling. Subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected as we continue to explore what it means to lead with conviction, serve with excellence, and build with eternity in mind.
So until next time, keep showing up, keep stewarding well, and remember, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's obedience in motion.